Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Unplugged Woodworking's podcast. So what have I been up to? I have been continuing with this travel guitar that I started. I haven't spent a great deal of time on it, to be honest. I've been a bit lazy. I've just been kind of chilling out a little bit and trying to enjoy the first bouts of the sunshine we're getting here in the northeast of England. So it is kind of coming on okayish, I suppose. It's for anyone that's missed it, and obviously there's pictures on my Instagram and Facebook. If you want to check those out, there'll be links in the description. There's links for everything, so anything I make reference to, check out the link and there'll be a link to everything. So it's going to be kind of cool in the fact that it's going to be a dovetailed guitar, meaning that it's going to be kind of a square guitar. I did already kind of explain this the other week, so I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I did actually do the joint for the neck. I didn't go with the dovetail route that I was originally going to go with. I've decided to go for kind of, I don't know what you would class it as. I don't know if it's kind of like a bit of a housing / bridal joint sort of thing. I mean, to my knowledge, and I'm not a loofah, obviously, there's only two ways you can do the joint, or rather attach the neck to the body, and that's with a tapered dovetail, or what I've just described, the kind of housing bridal joint. I do understand there's kind of the ways you can fit it with like bolts and stuff and screws, but obviously me being me, I wanted to do it, some type of joinery. Me personally, I believe that's better. Not that I'm a loofah, obviously. I did also record a video today. I've got to edit it, so that should be published maybe Monday or Tuesday-ish, or probably Tuesday. So that's pretty much me just sharpening an auger bits. If anyone's interested, keep an eye open for that. Same again, it's really super simple, kind of primitive, like. I basically don't use any vices, obviously, no sort of special equipment other than the file. But I'm basically just resting it on the bench. It's something similar to the way I've done the card scraper, in a similar fashion, should we say. So that should be out Tuesday-ish, if I get it edited in time. I have also plans to get some more blogs out. I have started a couple of blogs. I am being a bit lazy, and I have been lagging behind a little bit with those, but those are in the works, so there'll be a couple of blogs coming out within the next couple of weeks as well. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different, and talk about accidents and mishaps in woodworking, or more specifically the mishaps and accidents I've had. I've actually injured my hand. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I injured my hand yesterday, so I thought it was a good topic to talk about. I've been lucky. It is a bit bad, my hand, but I've been lucky in the sense that it could have been a lot worse. So I'm going to kind of talk about that and maybe how it happened. There is a few other stories I'm going to go into as well. Some of them funny, some of them not so funny. So this kind of injury that I've just given myself yesterday, that was done with a 1/2-inch chisel, a freshly sharpened 1/2-inch chisel, so it was razor sharp. Why did it happen? Because I'm an idiot, and I should have had it clamped into place, and I didn't have it clamped into place. I was being lazy. So basically, while I was cutting the joint for the guitar neck to fit into the guitar body, rather than going into my shed, which is roughly like 15 foot away, I decided to be lazy, hold the neck in my hand and start paring away at the end grain of the joints. I did have this on the bench. I was over the top of it. It wasn't very ample for us, so I decided to put it in my hand, which was ample and it was a lot easier. So I was kind of doing, like, paring it down. Ironically, when I was doing this, and this happens a lot with me, so it just goes to prove I am an idiot, because a lot of the time if I do have an accident, I'll often say to myself, I really need to be careful here, I really shouldn't be doing this. I can see you just having a mishap. And 9 out of 10, as soon as I've said it, I have a mishap. Some of them aren't too bad, some of them are a little bit worse. And so as I'm paring down the end grain, obviously my hand slips and it goes right across my other hand. So I've kind of got, it's roughly about 2 inch. I've got a 2 inch cut in my hand, and that is on the centre of my hand, in between the thumb and the first finger. So it kind of looks like a bit of a Y on my hand now. So I've been really lucky with this, because it's actually, although it's quite a big cut, and although the chisel did go in quite a lot, it's kind of cut more of the skin or the first layers of the flesh. I'm not sure if there's many layers of the fat. I'm not a biologist, so I might be saying this wrong, like, but either way, it hasn't went in, like, it's not a straight cut. It's like a kind of a diagonal cut at whatever angle it was made at. Obviously, there was a lot of blood. I should have probably went to the hospital and got stitches, like most of the stuff I do, but I never do. I tend to opt for super glue, but that's just me. I just clean it up and whack a bit super glue on. It does the job for me. It's obviously, I know I shouldn't be doing that, but it is what it is. I ain't got a lot of faith in the NHS. A lot of bad stories and horror stories and opinions, so I'm not really going to get into that. But it kind of is what it is. So how could I have prevented this? I could have kind of went into my shed, got my toolbox out. It would have took us all of like 5 minutes to go and get the toolbox, clamp it down, and clamp the workpiece into place. It's, as I said, I'm an idiot. But it just goes to show you, laziness will sometimes get you into trouble with things like this. Will I learn my lesson? Probably not, but I think as I get a little bit older, it kind of, I am trying to be a bit more careful. So yeah. That's that one. While I remember, I totally forgot to mention this. I want to say a big thank you to Kevin Land, all the way from Texas. Kevin bought me a coffee the other day. I've just popped it in my head there, so I just wanted to say thank you very much, Kevin, if you're listening. Okay, so the next one I've got on my list is me thumb. This was quite a this was another quite horrific one, and I done this with my marking knife. So this is a mark knife Paul Sellers recommends. It's like I can't remember the number of it, but it's kind of a long thin Stanley knife. If anyone's interested, there's a link in the me Linktree link to me Amazon tools I use. That is an affiliate link, so obviously I get a little kick. It doesn't cost you any more, it doesn't cost you any less, but I get a little kick. So if you wanna check that out. So this was actually caught on video, mind you. So was me hand accident, what the first accident I've just been talking about there. The two of them were caught. Were caught on camera. So this one was when I was making a blanket chest. And the video is actually on YouTube. It's a high-speed video. It's me. I think the title is something like making a blanket chest on a Roman workbench. The title is something like that. But you'll kind of notice, like, for the first like couple of minutes, I'm okay, and then like after that, I've got this big mound of masking tape on me on me thumb. So how this happened, I was scoring the fibers. I was basically, had me boards glued together, and I was scoring the fibers. At the time, I don't believe I was using Japanese saws. So, I was using a Western style saws. Probably the panel saw I was probably using. So it's cleanish, but it will split the fibers. So you're obviously better, to separate the fibers with a knife, when you're cutting. So I'm using what was I using again? I think it was was it a ruler? I think it was a ruler and a square I was using. Anyway, I was scoring down with my knife. I was doing it rather quickly. I shouldn't have been doing it as quick as I was doing it. So I've pulled the knife down. To be honest with you, I think it might have actually been a combination square. It was a combination square. So I was pulling the knife line down a bit too quickly. It flicked up onto, like, it basically got caught onto the ruler part of the combination square. Obviously, I've got me thumb in my first finger pressing down the pressure, because there was actually some cupping in the boards. So obviously to keep it down, and obviously it went over my thumb. Even now, when I think about it, it really sends shivers like through us, and it makes us like cringe. It almost makes us feel sick. And I've never ever felt like that about anything, but any time I think about it, it really sends, like, it does make us like a bit nauseous. That was quite a deep cut with a Stanley knife. That was like quarter, like about a third. I don't know if it was a quarter or a third of me thumb was like basically just flapping. That was really, really bad. Same again. I put it back into place. I cleaned it and I super glued it up again. I think I had a bit of nerve damage to that. It's kind of okayish now. I say okayish. It's kind of, I'm scratching it as I'm speaking to you now, and it's kind of, it doesn't feel like the rest of my skin. Let's put it that way. But when I'd first done it and it first like healed properly, there was definitely some type of nerve damage there, because when I was scratching it, it just didn't feel right at all. So it went down quite deep. So preventing that, I don't think that'll ever happen to us again, because I'm actually petrified to mark out like that now, to be honest with everybody. I really, really take my time with things like that now, because that really hurt. There was so much blood with that. That was just, yeah, that I really learned my lesson with that one. So when I'm using a knife to do things like that, that's like I really take my time now. It's really ingrained into my brain, that one. Um, yeah, so be careful with those little marking knives, like, because it can do a lot of damage. So the next one is going to be me leg. So if anyone's seen my YouTube videos, especially in the summertime, I'm running around with shorts and a t-shirt on, usually barefooted. People must think I'm a little bit crazy, like, but I do like to be in the back garden. Obviously when it's a lovely hot day, the sun's blaring. I like to get as much sun as possible, So I was using my Japanese resource saw. So for anyone that doesn't know, that's like the big Ryobi, however you want to say it. That's like the big guy. I think that's like about, the blade itself is about 320 mil, or is it I think it might be 300 millimeters. So it's a big, hefty guy. At the time, I was experimenting with like different ways of cutting. So I kind of found this like good technique, and I still do use a technique occasionally. And this is basically when I kneel on the piece, what I'm sawing, and I'm basically pulling the saw up and down. It's like a vertical motion. It's not diagonal. It's like near enough like 90-degree vertical. So that works quite well. Same again. I'd been using this technique for like however long, like it might have been months and months. And I was saying to myself, I really need to be careful. I can see myself cutting my knee, because I was always getting quite close to my knee. And as I've just said before, I'm always running in the summertime. I'm always running around with shorts on. It's probably not the best thing to do, but as I said, that's what I like to do, so that's what I do. And eventually, I did catch myself. I caught myself kind of just above my kneecap, towards the inside of me thigh. I don't know how many teeth got us, but that's like about 3/4 of an inch, and that was like a clean like cut. This was just a brand new saw, so it was just like a big, like, it was quite a clean cut, but it was like it looked like a puncture hole. It looked like someone had cut us and then just like pulled it apart, for a lack of better words. Yeah, so that one was quite that was because I could like basically like fully see into my leg with that one. That was like not great. So same again, me being an idiot. I think if I'm opting to do things like that, I should really, put some pants on, basically. A pair of jeans maybe, or a pair of overalls. But I probably won't take heed with that, because as I said, that's what I like to do. I like to be in shorts and t-shirt at the summertime. I mean, that's one of the great advantages that I take with hand tools. It's not wearing like PPE or correct attire, basically. That's one of the things I love about it. A lot of the time you don't have to wear goggles, safety glasses. You don't have to wear dust masks. Things like that. That's one of the things I think is one of the perks of hand tools. Because obviously with my day job, I've had to wear safety glasses for years. And I 100% believe me wearing safety glasses all those years has actually affected my eyesight. I can't prove this, but that's just what I think. Obviously, I hate wearing hard hats. You've got to wear hard hats, all the time. Overalls, working outside in the summertime as a scaffolder, having to wear overalls, or working in the summertime, working in a power station. For anyone that hasn't worked in a power station, a coal-fired power station, those can be extremely hot in certain areas. So if you're excuse me, if you're working in a hot area, and it's a hot day and you've got overalls on, you can imagine, it's very unpleasant. So I think that's why I tend to, shy away from things like that when I'm in the comfort of my own home, doing my own thing, like in my back garden type of thing. But yeah, to be honest, with the leg injury, same again. I was super lucky with that. I can't really argue with anyone that would turn around and say you're an idiot and you should be wearing some sort of protective clothing or using another technique. I can't really argue with anyone because as I've just said, I've been lucky. That could have been a lot worse. That cut in my leg, it could have been 6 inches or even more. And those Japanese saws, when you get them, they are sharp. The blades, it would have easily have opened my leg up, not a problem. It did, but I was lucky in the fact that it was only like 3/4 of an inch. So now I've got a couple that weren't as bad, shall we say, but I still think they deserve a bit of a mention, a little bit of a what I would call, at least one of them was the Gypsy's warning, a little saying from up the northeast of England, possibly other areas in England, which basically means you've had a very lucky warning type of thing. You've had things could have been a lot worse. So this one was me thumb, and this one was when I was still using my table saw, and I can't quite remember what I was doing, but I do know I was doing some sort of ripping, I believe, and I was feeding the material through. I don't know if it's coming into my mind that the material was still a bit green or like a bit wet. So I think I was having a little bit of issue. I think I was getting some binding and stuff. So I was like kind of pushing it through, and I kind of remember looking at the back end of the piece I was ripping, rather than looking at the important area, basically the blade. I kind of fully remember why I was looking at the back. There was a reason I was looking at the back, which is absolutely stupid. That was just like stupidity. And I was basically pushing it through, and I just felt my thumb, and I was and I pulled my thumb away, and it basically, I looked at my thumb, and my thumb, it was kind of, the skin was right down to the, it looked like it was the last layer of skin. So there was basically like a little like triangle in me thumb. Basically, it wasn't bleeding or anything. Like I say, it just took it down to the last, like, it looked like the last layer of skin. I think not long after that, I kind of decided, like, well, I didn't decide. It kind of just it kind of happened that I was like kind of going to go more into the hand tools. I don't think I ever decided to go fully into the hand tools the way I did, but I think that was, like, as I've just said, that was a bit of a gypsy's warning and that, and I was like, ugh. So after that, I had a great respect for the table saw, and I still do. I haven't used a table saw, like, I can't remember the last time I used a table saw. It was a very, very long time ago. But as of that day, I gained a very deep respect for table saw, just power tools in general. I mean, that could have been very, how can we put it? Basically, where it was, I think it would have basically cut me thumb in half, like lengthways. I think, so, I would have had two thumbs, basically. I'm not saying I was careless on the table saw when I use it, because I think I have always had a respect for power tools. Obviously, I think or like industrial machines, I think you have got to have some sort of respect for them, because if you don't, they'll have your hand off, or they'll kill you. So I'm not overly sure what happened with that one, but I think I've been like super lucky with that, because as I said, I could have easily had like two, it would have cut me thumb in half, or it would have pulled me hand like into the saw. It might have caught the bone and pulled me whole hand in. I don't know. But it's a bit scary just to think about that one. So, what have we got next? I've got this one's kind of funny. Again, I don't know if I was being, I don't know if you could consider it being lazy, but this is what happened anyway. So I am cutting, I think it might have been was it a bridle joint? Or was it mortise and tenon joint? It's some sort of joint. I remember it was oak. I remember very clearly it was oak. I'm sure it was a tenon or a bridle joint. Regardless of that, so I was cutting the joint in the horizontal plane. So this is the same way basically that I would cut. For anyone that follows us on Instagram or YouTube, they would have seen the way I cut me dovetails, the tail portion. So basically I lie them flat on my bench and I cut away. So I was doing this with it was either a tenon joint or a bridle joint. And I remember, I think it was like somewhere in the region of like 3 inch by 3 inch square. And I had it in the peg setup. So basically I had 2 pegs, and then I had a single peg on the other side and then a wedge in, so that's your basic triangle. And this is what I use to plane basically, like clean edges up and whatnot. So anyway, I've got this in. I've got one hand on the piece, and I've got a saw on the other hand. It was me Ryoba saw. So I'm cutting down. So it's the cut's going pretty well. So my arm started getting a bit tired, and I remember looking at it and thinking I should really put a hole fast, to keep it from like springing up. And I thought it'll be all right. So I kind of like taught myself. I was actually on this particular occasion. I was actually going to go and get the hole fast, and I thought, nah, it'll be fine. I think I was as well at the time. I think I was experimenting with different ways to hold material to see what I could get away with and whatnot. And so I took my hand off the piece, and I put it onto the saw, and excellent, wasn't going anywhere. So I'm sawing. So obviously with the Japanese saw, it's a pull saw. So with it being in the horizontal plane, when I'm sawing, if you can imagine, I'm at the front of my bench. The piece is protruding over the bench a little bit. It's obviously to where the joint is. I'm on my knees, and I've got the saw in both hands now, so I'm sawing. I've got me track lines now. I'm good in two planes, so I start giving it a bit of welly. So I'm picking up my speed. I'm going. It's not moving. It's not going anywhere, and I'm going, and all of a sudden, just a big, massive bang. I fall back. I'm dazed. I hadn't a clue what was going on. I kind of felt my head. There was a big bump on my head. It felt like it was bleeding at first. It wasn't bleeding, but it felt like it was. I kind of stood up. I stumbled about a bit. I kind of felt like fainty. It basically nearly knocked us out, this 3x3 bit of oak. So what's happened when I've been sawing, I've been pulling it down to the ground. I don't know if it's caught on one of the fibres, or it's caught on maybe a bit of a knot or something like that, and it's just basically there's been a seesaw action. The pivot points at the edge of the bench, and it's basically just catapulted the thing up into my head. And it's literally nearly knocked us out. It was pretty much like getting hit across the head with a baseball bat, pretty much. I think one of the edges that hit us. So I think that's what nearly cut me skin. I think what saved us with that is probably the fact that I always take my arises off the corners, basically so I don't cut myself. So that was the saving grace with that one. But yeah, I mean, I can't really say that was laziness. It could have been prevented, because I did say to myself I probably should put a hold fast down, but I think I was experimenting, so I have to kind of take that one on the chin, or rather on the head. So I can't really say a lot about that one. So the last one I'm going to talk about, this was my first and my last using a Rogo. So I don't know if anyone's used a Rogo. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I apologise if I'm not, because I know I get wrong off people for not pronouncing the woods properly. So it was quite funny actually. Someone sent us a little thing, message on Instagram, I think it was. He said, "Oh hi," he says, "I'm not having a go at you, but this is how you pronounce." And I'm still going to pronounce it wrong. Sapel. I think it was how you pronounce it correctly as Sapelli, something like that. I thought it was quite funny, because I know a lot of people struggle to to understand what I'm saying, and obviously it doesn't help the fact that I'm pronouncing words wrong as well. But so this Oroco, I started using it. It may have been the start of the week, so I was getting some wood off a guy. I had to drive about 40 minutes to get this wood, which is quite good for me, because where I'm situated, the closest place I can get wood is either from that guy, which I haven't seen for a long time. I may actually give him a phone call, or it's an hour and a half drive down to Firsk for me from the Newcastle area. So I get this Oroco, I kind of like the colour of it, I like the grain of it. I thought, oh yeah, great. So I started building a little unit, and this unit was kind of designed to be at the edge of a bed, or rather the bottom of a bed. Basically, you flip the lid and you manually pull the telly up, put a couple of catches on, so you could basically watch TV in bed, and then obviously through the day, you can basically just put put the TV back into the unit. You know, the unit was, I can't even remember how big the unit was. It was like somewhere in the region of what, like, was like 150 millimeter wide, something like that. It was tiny, you know, and that's kind of the design of it. So I was using that, you know, built the framework up. You know, I think the first day I basically got it, I was doing, you know, like the rip cuts and whatever else, you know, rough dimensioning. The following day, my eyes were irritating as, you know, I was like, my cheeks were a bit scratchy. I didn't think anything of it. Second day, you know, just worked. The third day I woke up and, you know, my cheeks were a bit puffy and I was like, what's going on here? You know, I was kind of wondering to myself, have I ate something funny here? The next day, I used it, you know, started cutting the joinery and whatever else. And the following day when I woke up, my face was just like all swollen, all tight, puffy. It basically looked like someone had took a baseball bat to me head and, you know, like give us a really good like hiding basically. I was all swollen out, my eyes were all puffy. I had a really bad reaction with Orogo. So for anyone that doesn't know, I checked this out obviously when I finally clicked on, or all I thought to myself, it's got to be the wood. I kind of looked into it, and apparently Orogo's renowned for doing this to people's faces. There's quite a lot of people that'll have like allergic reactions. I believe for some people they can like take away the breath, you know, it can be like almost asthmatic type of thing. I didn't suffer anything like that, it was just my face in general. You know, I did me dust collection at the time, it wasn't great. I did have dust collection. I was using, obviously at the time I was using a table saw. It wasn't great, but I was getting some of the dust, but obviously the dust I wasn't getting, it was obviously, you know, getting onto my skin and whatnot, getting onto my clothes. So I think that lasted for like, my face may have been swollen for about a week. You know, I didn't go down to the doctors, anything like that. By then I'd kind of figured out it was, you know, it was the Orogo. So I've never touched it since. I don't think I'll touch it again. I mean, I don't know what it would be like using hand tools with it, because obviously when you're using hand tools with, you know, with wood, the sawdust tends to be a lot coarser, shall we say. Obviously, if you're using an orbital sander, you know, anyone that's using orbital sander will know that the dust off that's really fine. Obviously with hand tools you're not going to get anything like that. I think the closest thing you'll get to that is a little bit of like that sort of dust. Sometimes you get that when you're using a card scraper. You know, if you like getting really fine shavings with a card scraper, you'll sometimes get a little bit of remnant of that sort of like fineness of dust. But I mean, other than that, me personally, I don't really get a lot of it. Obviously, when you're sewing, you know, it's a lot coarser, the sawdust. So I don't know if I would be all right with that, or whether it would affect us, you know, the same way it did. I mean, I don't really know anyone else that's had like obviously bad reaction to it. I don't know anyone else that's used it, obviously, but you know, me personally, I think I've had a really bad reaction to it. I could be wrong. This might be the status quo everyone, but I do know that it's very common for people to have reaction with Orogo. So let that be a warning to anyone that hasn't used it before and thinking about using it. You know, make sure you've got good dust collection, or you know, whatever you need to have in place. Make sure it's in place, because it wasn't pleasant. It was quite nasty. I've never had anything like that. To my knowledge, I'm not allergic to anything, so I've never had like, I don't suffer from hay fever. I'm not allergic to any sort of like food, any nuts, anything like that. So I've never had any sort of swelling like that in my life. So that was a first for me. So it was very unpleasant. So yeah, like I say, if you need to get things in place, get them in place. Not good at all. So that's some of the stupid things I've done in the past. There'll probably be more in the future, but it's me. So I think I'm going to call it. I've babbled on enough today. Let us know what you want to hear. If you want to hear us talk about anything specifically. Leave a comment or send us an email, whatever. I think that's it, yeah. So thanks for listening, guys, and until the next time, I shall speak to you later.